Hey, lovely friends. Today's question comes from Gina. It's kind of a continuation of the conversation we've been having over the last few weeks. And Gina says, let's talk about affairs since it's not a topic that's discussed enough because it's a bad word. After I found out about his affair, she's referencing her husband, I felt so alone and I didn't lean on any of my friends for support because this isn't something we normally talk about. Now that I'm on the other side of it, I wish I could share it with them so they can know that I'm here for them. Heaven forbid they are ever in this situation. I don't want my loved ones to feel as alone as I did. Do you recommend sharing this kind of information with your close friends or work it out inside the marriage only? This is such a good question, Gina. When things in our life don't go the way that we want, whether it's a child that goes through something difficult, makes choices that we don't approve of, or our marriage struggles, we find out our spouse had an affair, or maybe we're the ones who messed up. As human beings, our knee-jerk reaction is to hide. We feel the emotion of shame. And shame likes to hide because our brains are wired to really crave inclusion. Our lower brains desperately want other people's approval because it means survival. Back when we were cavemen, if we were alone, our chances of survival were so much lower. It literally meant that you would likely die. There was less protection, less support, no one to help you hunt, no one to help you stay warm. Food and shelter could be a problem if you're by yourself. And so that part of our brains is still there. We need each other. We fear that if other people know this dark thing about us, that we're going to be excluded from the herd. Our survival, that's what our brains tell us, that our survival is at stake here. But the interesting thing about hiding and shame is that we create the exact feelings of isolation that we fear the very most. So let's take a look at what that model looks like. In the circumstance line, we have husband had an affair. And the thought is no one can know. We're ashamed. We feel shame. We don't want anyone to know. We fear that something will happen, right? So we feel that feeling of shame. And then in our action line, what do we do when we feel shame? We hide the truth. We put the fake smile on for our friends and think about how other people will judge us if they find out. We don't want them to know our secret, right? We make all that action about keeping it a secret. We feel lonely. We avoid conversations with dear friends because we're afraid something might slip out, right? We don't connect with other people. All of that happens here in our action line. And we are creating the result that I'm alone and I'm isolating myself. So the one thing that I am so worried about being alone is what I'm creating for myself. No one can know. I'm isolating myself. I'm all alone. So first, it's just really interesting to know that that's what your model creates. So if that's not a result that you want, we got to look at the model. We got to look at the thought that's creating the result and see what we can do about it. Now, I actually really know firsthand how hard this can be. Our son went through a very difficult situation. It was very public. It was pretty devastating to our family. And boy, did I want to hide. But I really knew more than ever that I needed people. I needed my friends. I needed to share our story and thank people ahead of time for their grace. Thank them for not judging me. Thank them for not judging my son or our family. Ask for their prayers and their support. And just really trust in their goodness, trust in the fact that I trusted them to show up as amazing human beings with lots of grace, and they did. Now, that doesn't mean there wasn't possibly some judgment. Maybe there was. I didn't hear about it. But I'm sure it happens, right? Like that's the trade-off, is opening ourselves and being vulnerable and then allowing people to respond however they want. So that choice to trust in the goodness of other people really helped us to connect and feel supported in a way that we never would have had or never would have been possible had we just hid and cut off our communication with our friends. So now, having said this, I think it's also really important to say that not all situations are the same. Sometimes there can be added collateral danger or damage when we share things with the wrong person, with the wrong people. So you have to know your audience and use your discretion, right? That has to be your call. I don't want to have you hear me saying, yes, go tell the world. We have to be smart about it, right? And if you do decide that you want to share with a trusted friend, you need to manage your expectations around how they might show up for you. So I think you can expect people to be loving and kind and help you bear your burden, but also understand that they might judge you, that it's all okay. The way that other people react just reflects on their own fears, their own insecurities. They get to be human, and so do you. So don't take anything personal. Don't expect it to be perfect, right? Second thing I want to say is it's really important to know that the way that you share your information will also shape their reaction. If you're very angry with someone, your friends will likely mirror that emotion. They're like, yeah, he's the worst. They'll jump on that bandwagon with you, right? They'll help you feel justified. And that sometimes we really want that. We want to feel like someone else has our back. They know what they're feeling our pain and they're just as angry and upset as we are. But the problem comes when you're done and you've done the work to move beyond it. Sometimes we can't expect our friends to be in that same place. They might still be angry. It might shape their relationship with that person. Okay, so just understand that that's a possibility and you'll have to do some work on that too. I think it's really helpful if you don't feel like you have anyone else to talk to, especially in that situation, talking to a coach or getting some therapy can be really helpful because your friends are there to support you, there to love you, but they just don't have the tools to help you process all of this and get moving in the right direction. They don't know how to help you manage your mind, how to work on your thinking around it. So you've got to get some help there. So let's go back to the thought here. No one can know. And just question it. What else can we think here that would create a better result? Shifting that one thought just a little bit can really help. And maybe it's as simple as saying other people have problems too. Just acknowledging that, yeah, other people have struggles I might not know about as well. I want you to think that thought in your head and feel a little bit of the relief, little openness that comes with that thought, like I'm not alone in this. Other people have struggles too. I'm not some special snowflake that's the only one going through hard things, right? Such a good question, Gina. Thank you for submitting this. I think everyone can relate to this in one way or another. We all have our struggles. So listen, for the rest of you, if you're not working with me, why not? Call and make your appointment with me. Let's talk. Let's get you help. It is really hard to coach yourself through something like this. If you feel like you're ready to move forward and you don't know how, I'm here for you. Schedule your free consult and let's get going. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I will see you next week.